to have you back on the channel. Perhaps you've heard of Web 3.0. I've also heard about it. And to bring to your attention, the concept of Web 3.0 and the proposed technology behind it cannot be ignored. The question is, what is Web 3.0? Is it a reality or a fantasy? Well, some schools of thought, experts if you like, believe it is a paradigm shift in the use of the internet, the next evolution of the internet. So, how does it affect you, me, and businesses at large? Stay tuned. I carry out some detailed research on the subject matter, and my findings is an eye-opener and very interesting. You don't want to miss it. So, grab a cuppa. Of course, I mean a cup of tea, and then subscribe, and thank you. Meanwhile, for a better understanding of Web 3.0, let me take you through the evolution of the internet, starting with Web 1.0. You see, the gentleman called Tim Berners wrote and presented a document in 1989 titled, and I quote, "Information Management, a Proposal," end quote. In his presentation, it summarized, quote and unquote, network like this: a network of information system interconnected by hypertext links, full stop. So in effect, Tim can be described as the brain behind the Web 1.0 era. Therefore, the 90s and early 2000s can be described as the beginning of Web 1.0. Okay, now let us quickly examine the composition of Web 1.0, the utilities and functionalities, etc., etc. You see, during this period, the 90s and early, to 2000, the internet, Web 1.0, was used as a source of information, essentially to consume information and news in a read-only format without much interaction, static page if you like, while the only means of communication was by email. So one could say Web 1.0 does not offer more functionality and flexibility, and this era witnessed the creation of companies like Netscape, okay, AOL, Java, Lycos, MySpace.com, and Google. I remember during that period we used old computers like what you're looking at your screen, and those days computer use modem, not like today's router. And with modem, to download just 10 megabyte files, it takes hours. I suppose I have people who witness this era among my audience today. If not, sorry, you missed this memorable era. Okay. Shortly afterwards, Web 2.0 was created and introduced around 2004 and 2005. Stay with me, let me bring it up. Now, Web 2.0, yeah, this era, 2004, 2005, which often referred to as the second generation of the World Wide Web. And Web 2.0 was embedded with software programs and applications. So one could describe Web 2.0. So how can one describe Web 2.0 better? Good question. You see, Web 2.0 transcends beyond the limitation of Web 1.0. How? Okay, stay with me, let me explain. And a key player, one of the key components of Web 2.0 is Tim O'Reilly. I think you want to know how. Okay. You see, it did not only encourage open source software, but also founded the world first portal website. Consequently, the web content was changed from read-only to interactive. In effect, this development created a paradigm shift where users can now upload text, pictures, videos, and other content on the platform. Meaning, you and I are no longer passive recipients of the content. It enables us to create content and communicate with others. And this evolution creates and enable social social network to emerge. Yes. You see, Web 2.0 is a read and write version of the internet. Meanwhile, let me summarize the feature of Web 2.0 for you. Its dynamic content is responsive to users. Yes. Information flows between the platform owner and users, and free sorting of information. That said, there is a price, the disadvantage of Web 2.0 for users like you and me. Stay tuned, let me break it down. You see, Web 2.0 is a centralized platform, meaning your data and mine are mastered, controlled, if you like, by a central platform. Please pay attention to the word centralized. I will explain in a short while. Okay, what is wrong or what is the issue with a centralized platform? Okay, Web 2.0 is what we currently use today, remember that, and is embedded with an increase in social interaction, algorithm, learning, and the monopoly of content ownership by giant companies such as LinkedIn, yes, Amazon, yep, Facebook, yep. What am I trying to say? Okay, here's the key. You see, as you and I create content and share them through all the social media platform, like the platform tech giant I just mentioned, and as we use Amazon to shop online, we generate data, and all these data are stored in a centralized platform controlled by this tech giant. And this tech giant who control this data invariably sold this data to advertising agency for profit in the form of money. So in other words, you and I are commodities for these companies. However, let me stress this. 97% of us consent to the use of data without knowing the consequences. Most of the tech giants, e.g. Facebook, Google, etc., collect our data and tell us to consent to it under the disguise of improving our experience of using the internet. Wow. Now we know better. Besides, this tech giant can stop you and I from creating content on their platform, censor our content, etc., etc. See, essentially, Web 2.0 gives control to a few companies. That said, this is where Web 3.0 steps in, yes, to reconfigure the internet and give power to you and me, the users. The question is how? Stay tuned, don't go away. Remember, I told you to pay attention to the word centralization. Okay, the word centralization embedded in 2.0 web will now be replaced with decentralization as the internet evolved into Web 3.0. Okay, here's the key. You see, decentralized will allow users, you and I, to retain ownership of their data. In doing so, the content will no longer be stored in a fixed HTTP location. Rather, it will be stored in a multiple location, which means there is no single entity who has power over a piece of content. Wow. I think everybody will appreciate this concept. Okay, you see, Web 3.0 will be embedded in blockchain tech, which is secured and decentralized. So, in effect, your content is not in a central location and cannot be blocked or taken down. So, content will be distributed across so many computers or nodes through blockchain technology. With Web 3.0, you and I are in control of our content, data, and you can monetize it, and you can decide otherwise. You and I are in control, not the social media giant like the Facebook, Google, etc. And then an example of a company linked to Web 3.0 is Opera crypto browser, and there are others. Please, this is not a paid for advert. Okay, now I'm not incentivized to do this. Another key feature of Web 3.0 will be the advancement in AI, machine learning, and the way we research the internet. In Web 3.0, computers will have the capacity to understand information in the same way as humans by using semantic web concept and new machine language learning technology, etc. etc. Remember? Sorry. Okay now. Okay. In another development, some school of thought believe Web 3.0 would enable every company in the future to be governed by a centralized organization called DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Again, through the use of blockchain tech. Okay, now, what do you think about Web 3.0? I'd like to hear from you. Well, in my opinion, I think the possibility of the success of this concept and technology is 9 over 10. That's a good mark coming from me. Okay, here comes the best mark, best part of it. Subscribe, like, and comment. Remember, the goal is to generate wealth, build companies, and then create jobs. Bye now. See you soon. Thank you as you subscribe.